It's time for another verb of the day, and today's verb is slip. Let's look at some of the definitions for the word slip. The first is to move, flow, pass, or go smoothly or easily. Some words that are similar, you might hear slide or glide. A second meaning for the word slip is to slide suddenly or involuntarily. So the best mental picture I can give you for this is when it's icy out and you might not realize you're stepping on some ice and you start to lose your balance and you're gliding or sliding on the ice. The third definition says to pass without having been acted upon or used, to be lost, to get away. One way you might hear this used is that an opportunity slipped away or slipped by. That tends to be kind of common. A fourth meaning that you might hear is to pass from or escape from one's memory, attention, or knowledge. A common phrase that connects to this meaning is, it slipped my mind, which is really just another way to say, I forgot. Slip is a regular verb. It ends with a consonant, vowel, consonant, so we are going to double the P on this word. So to spell slipping, you need two P's. We also need two P's when we add ed to make the past tense and participle forms. This ed is going to make a T sound, slipped. Okay, let's look at some phrasal verbs for slip. The first phrasal verb I have is to slip away or slip by. And when many people use this phrasal verb, they're talking about time and time passing very quickly. So an example of that, this month has slipped away. I can't believe it's almost April. Another phrasal verb is slip on, and that can mean you're putting on clothes very quickly. Here's an example of that. I slipped my coat on and ran outside. A third phrasal verb is to slip out. And that is when you say something by mistake. And the best way or most frequent way you'll hear this meaning used is when you're supposed to be keeping a secret and it slips out. So that's my example sentence. The secret just slipped out of her mouth. The fourth phrasal verb is slip through. It means to pass through easily, gradually, or without being noticed. So a teenager who's maybe planning a little escape might say, I will slip through the house when my parents are asleep. Finally, we have slip up, and it's to make a mistake or error. My example sentence, I slipped up and I sent the email to the wrong person. We all make slip-ups, so nothing to worry about there. Let's look at the verb slip being used in some different verb tenses. Today I have the simple past, past progressive, and present perfect. And we'll look at it in the affirmative, negative, and how we make yes or no questions in all three tenses. In the simple past, again, I'm going to double my P before I add ed, and that will work with all of my subjects. I, you, he, she, it, we, they. So an example sentence, I slipped on my shoes to get the newspaper. And to make the negative in the simple past, we're going to get rid of ed and use did not, and then the base verb. So he didn't slip up at work today. All that means is he didn't make a mistake. And if we want to make a question, what we want to do is switch the order of the subject and the helping verb from the negative into the question. Did you slip and fall last winter? And I use that as an example because That is a sort of combination that you might hear, slip and fall, slip and slide. You'll see that in another example in just a moment. Let's talk about the past progressive. To make the past progressive, we want to use the past tense of be, so I, he, she, it, was, or you, we, they, were, and then we're going to use ing. And don't forget our double P here. So usually the past progressive is talking about an activity that was continuing, and it's really common to see it used together with simple past. So you have a continuing activity, and then something interrupts it, and that's that past tense. So let's look at an example of that. He was slipping on the ice when he grabbed her hand. So the slipping on the ice is what was continuing, and then it was interrupted by the grabbing. Another example, so you can see the other form of be there. You were slipping on the ice when you grabbed her hand. Okay. To make the negative in past progressive, all we want to do is insert not after was or were. You can see this with the two examples here. The tool wasn't slipping out of his hand. Or the tools weren't slipping out of his hand. If we want to make a yes or no question, what we're going to do is switch the order of was and were, our helping verbs, with the subject. So I have the question here. Were the cars slipping and sliding on the icy road? Was the car slipping and sliding on the icy road? Finally, let's look at the present perfect. To make the present perfect, we want to use have and then our participle. And here, because it's a regular verb, the past tense is the participle. They have slipped through the crowd. He has slipped through the crowd. If we want to make this negative, we just want to use not after have or has. And in conversational English, you're more likely to hear the contracted form of those two words. I haven't slipped on ice. She hasn't slipped on ice. If we want to make a question in the present perfect, all we want to do, again, is change the order of our helping verb, have or has, and the subject. Have they slipped your memory? Has it slipped your memory? So in the first sentence, maybe there are two or more things that somebody has forgotten that I'm asking about. Okay. Finally, let's talk about a few related words to this verb slip. Slip, all by itself, could also be a noun. And the first meaning of this noun could be just the act of slipping. So in the sentence here, she had a slip on the ice. You can tell slip here is a noun because the article a comes right before it. The second common meaning of the word slip is something that many women are more familiar with, and that is a garment that we wear under dresses or skirts, maybe to help smooth things out or not be able to be seen through. So hopefully this hasn't happened to you, but I will admit it has happened to me where I look down and say, oh no, my slip is showing out of the bottom of my skirt or dress. The last two related words, really just one, is slippery, but we're going to talk about this adjective having two meanings. The first meaning is that it tends to cause slipping or sliding. So the best example of this, think about winter roads. And that's my example here. Be careful driving. The roads are slippery. The roads are causing cars to slip or slide. The other meaning for slippery is that something is difficult to hold or to grasp. So the first things that came to mind here are fish. If you've ever tried to hold a fish, you might have found it kind of slipping from your grip. Thank you so much for tuning in and learning more about the word slip. I hope you'll continue to watch, and I'll be posting more videos next week. Take care.